and welcome to Agentforce NOW, codeLive. I'm Akshata Sawant, Developer Advocate at Salesforce. I'm currently based in London, and I'm so excited to be here after a really, really long time. So, before getting started, let me know where you guys are joining me from and how is it going. Also, if you guys have any questions around the session, whatever we'll be covering today, feel free to ask them in the chat. And welcome again. So, in this session, we'll be mainly focusing on building connected agents with MuleSoft and Agentforce. So, we'll be driving through a whole lot of process. Like, if you're someone who's completely new to MuleSoft as well, I think you're at the right place because we'll be building an entire Mule application from scratch, like right from design phase, implementation, building, and then we'll see how we can get our APIs connected with Agentforce, how we can integrate them. So, with that, I guess let's get started. We also have Mohit in the comments in the chat section who'll be helping us out. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, and hopefully I can take them ahead as well if we have some time towards the end. But we actually have a lot of things to cover. Like there's an actual, as I said, the life cycle that I have to complete, get it started with Agentforce. So without wasting time, let's get actually started. With that, I'll yeah just share my screen. Okay. Yep. Let me know if you guys are able to see my screen. Hopefully, yes. And so what you're seeing here is AnyPoint platform is a MuleSoft's iPaaS platform, and you can get access to it as well. You can log in into anypoint.mulesoft.com and create a free trial account to get access to it. So before getting started, what we are going to do is we are going to build a relationship. We are going to build basically a connection between our MuleSoft platform and the Salesforce developer account. So I also have a Salesforce trial account with me. I guess so window is not enabled. Let me stop sharing and share again. Okay, share my entire screen and it's here. Hopefully you're able to see the entire screen now. So what we have here is we have AnyPoint platform. So let's go ahead and let's go into the access management. So as a first step, we are going to build a connection between our AnyPoint platform and our Salesforce platform, Salesforce org. So the Salesforce org that I'm using here, you can use a developer edition account as well. If you wish to get started, if you have because that's where you get access to Agentforce. So if you're on the MuleSoft platform, the AnyPoint platform, we can go into the Salesforce tab, and this is where we are going to add our Salesforce org. So let me go ahead and add the Salesforce org. But before getting started, I just wanted to have a quick check that everything is working fine. Yeah, it seems like because I do not have any message. So now, so yeah, we are currently on AnyPoint platform. Let me go ahead and add the Salesforce org. To get the Salesforce org ID, I will go into my setup, and from setup I need to type in AnyPoint. So under MuleSoft section you have this AnyPoint platform setup. Go on the view connection tab and you have the Salesforce or tenant key. So I have copied the Salesforce or tenant key and I will be pasting it out over here, and I can have a name as hotel reservation or maybe codeLive. I just need to give it a name. Okay, that should be good. And once I'm done, I get the AnyPoint platform org key as well. So I've copied my org key and I'll go back into my Salesforce org and I'll copy paste the org key. And with that, I'll be building a connection between two. So once that is done, I will also enable the other checks that will help me enable the Einstein AnyPoint platform so I can have the invocable actions as well enabled. Um, and once all of that is done, you can see the connection has been built. So let me go back into my AnyPoint platform and do the same. I'll enable all the checklist. I'll assign business group. And once you have all the green checks here, you can say that you have successfully established a connection between your AnyPoint platform org and your Salesforce org. So that is actually the first step, that is building connection between these two orgs. Okay, and I'm done with it pretty quickly. So once this is done, the next step will be building a Mule application, for which again we'll go back into our AnyPoint platform. Okay. from which I am going to go ahead into my studio, that is Anypoint Code Builder. You can either use your Anypoint Code Builder, your studio basically, from your VS Code desktop version, or you can use it from your cloud, an ACB's cloud edition. So it's up to you which one you want to go ahead with. Um, so today I have the cloud edition, and let me click launch. I think I already have a tab open. So yes, because it actually takes some time to launch as well. So using Anypoint Platform's Cloud IDE, you can design, implement, and develop an integration. And that's the beauty of it. Today we'll see what we are going to like. We'll be designing an API, and it's not just going to be a simple API. In this API, we are also going to enable this API for agent topics and actions. So what we are doing is we are basically enabling topics. We are having our topics and actions and agent actions, instructions, everything in our API. So let me give this API a name as Coral Cloud, or maybe just a hotel reservation. Mm, okay, for codeLive demo, something simple for us to understand. I'll select the business group as well, business group. And yes, the most important thing is enabling this checkbox, because that's how our API will be enabled for agent topic and agent action, which means we are defining our agent topics and agent action while we are designing our API. Okay. This will create a API specification, a sample API specification. And if you can see already, we have the fragments, the standards that we have got. Okay, already have an API that I have built. You can go ahead and build an API from scratch, or you can make use of the assistant as well to build an API if you're someone who's not familiar to API. Okay, so let me just go ahead and copy paste the existing API that I have. I'll also share the resources like from where you can get the API. Yes, let me close all of them. So once my API is copy pasted, like once I have my API, you can see I have defined the topic as hotel reservation. I have defined classification description, and I've also defined all the instructions. I'm the operations that I have, the methods, the post method for reservation, basically the operations for endpoints, I'm turning them into an agent actions. So now my post operation under endpoint reservation, I have that turned into an agent actions. Okay. And I'm also defining, so XSFDC is the tag that we use for defining the agent action. Let me go ahead, and you can see we can also dynamically add topics and instructions using the UI. So if I have a new instruction, I can just go ahead, I can add a new instruction, or I can remove a particular instruction. On adding an instructions over here, it will be added in my API as well. So you can do it with the help of UI. And once this is done, if you can see governance rule sets over here. So these are the rule sets that are added because we have to enable the checkbox initially in the first window while we are designing the API. So certain rule sets, best practices have been added related to API catalog and topic center. So the feature that we using here is like API topic, Anypoint topic center, you can call it. That is the one that will help you define the API specific topics, agent actions while you're defining your API. And these are the rule sets that have been added related to it. So once our API has passed these two rule sets, what we can do is we can just go ahead and publish this API to Anypoint Exchange, which is MuleSoft's repository, or the place where we publish all our APIs, where we host all our APIs. So Control Shift P, and MuleSoft publish a API project to Exchange. Okay, it is validating our API and preparing it to Exchange. I will give it an API version 1.0.0. All the other details will remain as it is. You can also see that the tags have been added. This is quite important. So if you are not going ahead with the traditional approach without using ACB, and if you still want to your APIs in your API catalog, you need to ensure that you're adding these tags in your Anypoint Exchange manually. So once this is done, I will go ahead and publish my API to Anypoint Exchange. We can also view it on Exchange later. And it is preparing the project to publish our API on Exchange. Meanwhile, let me go ahead and check if there are any messages. Is Anypoint Code Builder open source? No, it's not open source, but you can use Anypoint Code Builder from Anypoint platform. Just give me a minute, I'm sorry. So, would you like to implement your API? Yes. So, once we are done building our API, that is designing our API, we can go ahead and implement our API. Before we can also give up API implementation a project name. I'll give a project name as Hotel Reservation, codeLive, IMPL. That stands usually for implementation. I will select the target folder. I'll set it as default. I'll select all the latest version of runtime, Java, and yes, it's scaffolding. So, and it's going to take some time. So, coming back to your question, currently Anypoint Code Builder from Cloud Edition is not accessible in the trial environment. That's the reason I would recommend you all to use the Desktop Edition, because from Desktop Edition you get access to the Anypoint Code Builder. This has been a recent update. Previously, we had access to Anypoint Code Builder Cloud Edition from trial version as well, but now it's only limited to Enterprise Edition. So, what I would recommend you is go into your VS Code and search for extension Anypoint Code Builder, and using that, I mean, you get all the functionalities as it is same. You can also access it from Cursor and build your Mule application if you're completely new to MuleSoft. Okay. With that, I see that we already have our project here, Mule hotel reservation. Yes, it has implemented. So the API that we have built has been now scaffolded. And you can see we have got a beautiful flow over here. We also have the different um, endpoints that have been scaffolded, the get reservation, post reservation endpoints. So today, just for the understanding purpose, we are going to build a simple we can add any connectors. You can build your own transformation, you can add do your own transformation, you can add in all your own connectors. uh, if you can see, it has also got MCP agent operation support, AI agent operation support, and there are several connectors to choose from. We have several Salesforce connectors as well. But just to keep it simple for today's code live session, I'll add a simple transform message. Okay, I need to go back and transform with output JSON. So I'm adding this connector, and this is the data weave language, a scripting language using which you can write complex transformational logic and do your transformation. Okay. So I have a simple transformation that is related to reservation. So I am already getting the reservation, a customer ID, check-in, check-out date. I'm adding it to my transformation logic. And once this is done, I can also add a logger here, um, just for logging purpose. Yes. And I can set message as hash payload. Okay, it has already been set. At the same time, you can also use Agentforce Assistant, Agentforce for Developers Assistant, but I think it's still in pretty initial stage, so I would not recommend to use. Once this is done, the next step would be, actually we also need a Mule gateway. So what is a Mule gateway, or basically what is a gateway? So let us go to API Manager from the same Anypoint platform. And as we proceed ahead, you'll get to know like why we are doing this. So using MuleSoft, you can create different types of gateways. You can add security policies to your gateway. So gateway is something that stands in between your API and the backend system. So basically, it's going to protect your APIs from attacks or maybe from external users. So it's going to be something like in between. Okay, so you have different types of gateways. You have the traditional Mule gateway that we'll be using today. You have Flex Gateway, and there's another gateway that is Managed Flex Gateway. So no matter where your application is hosted, you can still go ahead. it could be a new mule application, it could be a non-mule application, but you can still use the security capabilities of MuleSoft to protect your APIs, protect your LLMs as well. And with MCP and everything that's coming into picture around the AI bus, so I would highly recommend you to go and check this out. So today, for simplicity purpose, we are going to use a simple mule gateway. But if you want to manage a gateway on in your environment, you can go ahead and try out the Flex Gateway as well, and also the newest addition, that is Manage Flex Gateway, if you wish. So I have selected Mule Gateway here. Let me go ahead and click Next. I'll also select the API that we just created. The name was Hotel Reservation. Okay, codeLive demo. Hopefully it's this one, because I think, yeah, hotel reservation, codeLive demo, yeah, because there are several of them and I was actually trying out. And if you can also see the status is conformant, that's because our API is meeting the governance rule set. I'll keep the downstream and the upstream URL as blank for now. Maybe we'll have to come back again and revise this thing. So from here, I have got my API instance ID. All right. This is the ID that will connect our gateway to our Mule application. So I'll be needing this ID. Let me go ahead. Okay. And okay, let me go ahead, and I'm not in Salesforce, sorry, in my Mule application itself. I can go back to this is the code part, like we have seen the flow section. Currently, the API auto discovery part is still under implementation process. I guess it has some bug as well. So I prefer adding the API auto discovery part manually. So in this part, what we are doing is we are just adding the auto discovery ID, the API gateway that we have created. Okay, over here, we need to add the API auto discovery ID and also give the name of main flow's name. Okay, over here in this. So we are basically linking our Mule gateway with our Mule application. So whenever there are any requests that are coming in, it will be first passed to Mule gateway and then going ahead to a Mule application. I've just copy pasted the auto discovery ID or API ID that you can call it. And with that, my flow is complete. I can also go ahead and run this locally, or I can go ahead and directly publish it on Cloud Hub as well. Hopefully it runs. Let's give it some time. Let's see if there are no errors. Meanwhile, let me check if everything is fine. Yeah. Mohit has shared the instructions. So if you're wondering, if I mean, it's actually a long one, so long process. So you can basically get it done at your own pace, and the instructions are present. The one that in the link that Mohit has shared. So that's basically a workshop instructions. We were supposed to be hosting workshop, but we have postponed it. But hopefully soon we'll be back with our workshops as well. Okay, I guess it's running. It's implementing. And yes, it is deployed. So basically, our application is running fine. So I can say we can just go ahead and deploy our application to Cloud Hub. So for that, I can just do Control Shift P, deploy Mule project to Cloud Hub. Cloud Hub is MuleSoft's native runtime. I'll select the version as 2.0. Okay, and it is preparing. I have to select the region as well. So I usually go with the default ones. And yes, it's asking me to deploy it to Cloud Hub. So you can either deploy your Mule application on Cloud Hub, which is the easiest one, and with your trial edition as well, you get some vcodes to deploy your applications. The version would be by default 1.0.0, or you can also deploy on your standalone runtime or any of your server, your own machine if you wish to. So it is packaging the entire project and preparing it for deployment. Hopefully it deploys soon. Meanwhile, let me just take a look. Yeah, Mohita shared the workshop instructions. Those are the ones that are like uh, actually almost similar to what we are doing today. You can follow those instructions on your machine, and for that, I would recommend you the VS Code again, because that one has uh, the ACB access. I think it has already deployed. So let's go into the runtime manager from here. You can also access runtime manager from your Anypoint platform. That's the place where you get your runtime manager under runtimes. You can see status of all the applications from this, and you can see it's applying the configuration. So currently it will fail actually because I have to give some properties like the client ID and client secret needs to be passed. So I will be passing them manually. If I would have set them in the studio, uh, they would have automatically popped up. Let me give it some value. And also, for now, I'm just entering a random value, but I will stop sharing my screen and I will enter proper values for it. Okay, let me just stop sharing. Okay, all I'm doing is entering the credentials for client ID and client secret. I'll also show you where we got these credentials from. Okay, let me just protect those values and it's back. Okay, so I have entered the values for client ID, client secret. I'll apply changes. So it starts running. Meanwhile, how did I get the credentials from? So you can get them from access management, where you have access to all the different types of orgs and you can just get your client ID, client secret credentials from there and basically manage your different environments, your roles as well. Okay, your business groups. Yeah, this is where you get your client ID and client secret from. Um, yes, it's going to take some time to deploy the changes, to apply the changes. Meanwhile, what we can do is we also have the public endpoint that we have got here. Let me just copy paste the endpoint and I will go back into my API manager. So if you see, it's still unregistered. So while our application is still running, it's deploying, it will still be unregistered. And once it is deployed, it will turn into green. That is, it is registered and our API is authenticated, it's published, it's registered with the application. Let us go ahead and edit this instant because if you remember, we had left this upstream URL and the downstream URL blank. I'll just add the URL and also the endpoint as API. I'm adding this endpoint slash API because while we were building the application, we also had this endpoint that was added by default in the listener. If you go, not from the code, but in the listener's configuration, we have slash API in the path, and that needs to be appended. So if you have something else in your path as well, that needs to be added, but not your main endpoint. For example, if we have main endpoints like slash reservations, reservation ID, that doesn't needs to that we do not have to add. Yes, so my application is all up and running, and now we're done with the MuleSoft part. I promise. Now we'll get to the Agentforce side. So yes, we have created a Mule application. We have designed an API specification from scratch using OAS specification. We have defined APIs. We have defined topics, agent action, instructions while we are defining our API. And why we are doing this? Because going forward, agents are AI agents are going to be the topmost consumers of API, and we have also seen this with MCP servers coming into picture, like how we are actually exposing our APIs with MCP servers and all. So I think when we are using all of these with agents, agent interaction is essential to define topics. So as an API developer, uh, our job actually increases. We have to define topics, instructions, and label. Agent actions, everything while we are designing our API. And this was the simplest way of how you can do that. Now, let me go into Salesforce org. The next thing that we'll be seeing today is the API catalog. So this has been newly added. Prior to this, like, let me just refresh. So I have this previous API that I have uh, connected. It's going to take some time for our um, recent API, the one that we published, deployed to Cloud Hub, to pop up here. Okay. So before API catalog, we did not actually have access like all our APIs in one single place. We also had to create name credentials, external services, and then get our APIs into Salesforce. If you have attended the previous workshops of MuleSoft, we have seen like how we had to create a name credential, external services, register all the endpoint, do all of these steps manually to get our API. But now with API catalog, we can get our APIs, and not just MuleSoft API, it could be Apex, Heroku API, any API, Salesforce API basically over here. So this gives you a consolidated view of all your APIs at one place. And further, you can take this API operations while that the API has been loading. We can just take a look at one of our other API. Okay, so maybe this one. I've just created this one some time back. So we have, okay, yeah, this one has all the operation. So if you see our operations as post method, get method, create reservation, retrieve reservation, are all available here. You can take these operations ahead. You can invoke them via flow. You can invoke them from Apex classes, or you can invoke them via agents. And that's what we're going to do in today's session. We'll be invoking our API operations from agents. Before that, there is definitely some setup that we need to do. We have to create some permission sets. We have to activate our connections. So the new API that we have just deployed, published, will be available here, but it actually takes some time for the API to be available. If you're someone who's facing issues while getting your API, the things that you can check is your API endpoint. If you have added that path in your endpoint, if everything is configured correctly, if your application is up and running, okay. And let me go back into my API manager as well. Okay, I didn't save this one. I should have saved this. This could be one of the errors that you can get, that you have added the endpoints, but it's not saved. So okay, this was the endpoint, codeLive, hotel reservation, codeLive demo. Okay, and if you can see, everything is fine. It's like it's active state. This has to be an active state. Your API is conformant. You have the endpoints added. You have your auto discovery thing added as well. So these are some of the checklists that you can check if you're not able to see your API. And just go ahead and keep refreshing until it pops up. Okay. Meanwhile, as it's going to take some time, let me just go ahead and see if there are any questions. No, it's still taking time. We can give it some more time before we get into troubleshooting. Um, okay. Yes, Mohit has shared the link. Can you please maximize the window size? Sure, I can do it. Can max. Oops, sorry. I should have maximized it. Yes, I missed it. I hope this is fine now. Apologies. Let's still give it some more time for our API to be up. If not, we can, while it's still in progress, we can actually go ahead and see one of the APIs that we already have. Okay. So this is something that like once you have your API here, you have to activate the actions. If we have a new API coming up, I'm not sure how long it takes, but it usually takes really long time. The last time when I did it took around 15-20 minutes. So, but sometimes it's actually quick. It takes around 3-4 minutes. It depends. Or I can also try refreshing it. No, it's still not here. So let's use the existing ones. You have to go ahead, you have to manage your permissions, you have to assign your user, the admin or the user who's going to use this API to invoke them further from Apex, Flow, or agents. They need to be having permissions to this API. Okay, you will get an while you're setting this thing up, you will also get options to invoke to give permissions. Okay, and this will be like inactivated or not registered, and everything will be gray, and you have to just turn them on. If you follow the workshop, there are steps mentioned over there how to turn it on. So once you have your API completely active and completed state, agent enabled state, we will go back to our agent force. Okay, it's taking some time. Agentforce agents. Okay, and everything is enabled here. I have select your agent. I'm going ahead with the default Agentforce agent. Okay, open in builder, and let me just remove this one from the agent. This is the one that we have to add. So I'll go ahead and click on the add new assets. Over here, if you scroll down, you can see hotel reservation as the agent. So this was the topic that we have defined in our API, the one that we were designing using Topic Center. Click finish, and the new topic will be added to your agent. This new topic has the same description that we had added, the scope that we have defined, instructions, and all the instructions are here. You can also see the agents, the actions. Okay, retrieve reservation and create reservation. These were actually our methods that we have used, like the get method and the post method. Okay, so they are the two methods. You can also go into them. You can see the instructions that we have added. All right, and yes, everything is here. So let's go ahead and just give it a try. Let me ask the agent question about get reservation. Okay, I need to first activate the agent as well. Not activate, just refresh the agent. Sorry. Get me reservation details for customer with ID. So let us see if it's choosing our topic. We can also remove this topic so that it's not confused, but maybe for the next trial. Okay, and yes, it seems there are no records found. I'm sure it was confused with the general CRM, and I think I should be removing the hotel reservation topic. Let me give it a try again. Get me reservation, hotel reservation details with ID. Just being more specific with customer ID. Okay, it's asking me for reservation ID again. But it has selected the right topic, that is our API. Yeah, and it has given me the output. Although it's not formatted correctly, we need to go back and we need to change the formatting by doing a few configurations. That can be done as well. Let me go to the Agentforce, open in builder. Sorry. And here in data, I think we do have a setting for using which we can, I forgot the setting. It is while defining the input and output. Okay. But let us go back and see if we already have our APIs that we were expecting in catalog that are already present. Our API is still not here. It'll actually take some time, and I'm glad we continued with the demo. So yeah, we already have our agent force. It's responding. It's actually giving the output that is from the MuleSoft's platform. Yes, I was just checking if there is a way how we can um, change the input parameters so that our output won't be distorted. Another tip, you can use lightning to render. Yeah, edit the agents. Okay, yeah, this is something I need to edit. The output and the configuration. I need to disable the show in conversation. I'm removing the response that I do not need in my conversation. Okay. And let me just save and ask the question again to the agent. Agent force, agents, the default agent, open in builder, and I'll ask the same question again. Get me reservation details for customer with ID. Okay, again, it's doing the same thing, but it has selected the reservation detail. Let me, yes, now it has given me a proper format. That's because you just have to go ahead, and I think this is a bug that will be fixed soon, hopefully in the next release. You have to just deselect the fields that you do not want in the conversation preview, and it has given me the output as it is, as we has copy pasted in the transform message. And as you can see, this was a static one, but you can connect your MuleSoft application or your APIs to third party systems, your end systems basically, and your agent will be retrieving your information with the help of APIs from the backend system. But this was a super simple example in which you everything was mostly static, and you are just exposing your API is getting your information that was statically available in MuleSoft over here. So yeah, this is pretty much all, and we have actually completed within time. I wasn't expecting to complete it within time because it was a long demo, but I think I had practiced it a long time. I've done it for a really long time, and it worked. So with that, I can actually take up some questions that you guys have. Uh, and yes, before I forget, these let me just refresh again. No, it's still not here. So if it had been here, we would have actually seen like how do we manage permissions. We have to assign a permission to your APIs, create a new connected app and everything, but they're pretty simple and straightforward steps. So if you're following the documentation, you can get those steps over here on the documentation, the workshop as well. But other than that, we have actually completed the entire setup. What else I would like to show you guys is the MuleSoft's platform. uh, yeah, everything has been established over here. Yeah, yeah, I think it's pretty much complete. So for topic best practices, yes, keep the topics name semantically different. And let me see if there are any questions that we have. Application is, I'm sorry about the full screen thing. I know it should have been in full screen. And I'm still expecting the API catalog to actually pop up to show the API. But no, it's not here. So I think it's all right. So is this session been recorded? Yes, it's recorded and we'll get it. have Linux 64. Anypoint extension will not work on the VS Code for me. I can actually show you guys the VS Code as well. Let me just open it up. Uh, it should work. I'm not sure if it will work for you or not. Let me close the screen. Okay. So this is my VS Code, and if you see, it's exactly same to what we were seeing on the desktop as well. All you have to do is go into your extensions and search for Anypoint Code Builder API extension. This is the extension that I had. All that's all. Once you have this extension, you can go into Anypoint Code Builder from the three dots, and again you get all the same operations, same option as it is: design an API, implement an API, develop an integration, and this was the option that we chose. So with trial version, you want a trial version of Anypoint platform. You won't be getting Anypoint Code Builder. This has been recently dropped from the trial version. Oh, that was dramatic. So, our machine is actually lagging a lot. That's why the reason I kept it low. But if you want to sign up for a new Anypoint platform, just go to anypoint.mulesoft.com and create a new free trial account using it. Okay. It will be 30 days free trial account, but using that you can deploy your publish your API to Exchange. You can deploy your Mule application to Cloud Hub. You can use API Manager. You can discover the MCP operations, agent operations as well. Okay. And yes, now I'm all ready for new questions that we have. I'll stop sharing my screen. Awesome. Where can you get the recordings? The recording will be available on Salesforce Developers YouTube channel. Uh, yeah, that's the right place. Let me see if we have some resources. Here are the resources that we have. Salesforce Developer Community. That is something you can join. You can see the blogs, the videos around this. We also have a similar video around the same session on the Salesforce Developers YouTube channel that you can check out. The best resources would be around your workshop, something for you to get your hands on it. Let me just go through the chat sections and we can see. Yeah, here is the recording link. It's available on LinkedIn as well. Can you share the workshop document instructions to follow? So here are the instructions that you can follow, and that's a living document. So we'll keep it updated with the latest information. But this is the most latest one. Uh, Using Topic Center API catalog, how you can design your APIs, get them in Salesforce, and connect them with agents. Okay. Let me just go through the questions if there are any. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Where can I get the Agentforce setting? Okay. I hope you found it. Yes, there are extensions. Can you give me some videos to create API? So creating an API shouldn't be a task. Even if you're someone who's completely new to MuleSoft, you can go to API Designer and there will be an option to use assisted version. You have to just fill in the details and the API will be created for you. The best way is like currently to use a chat GPT or maybe any LLMs to make use of to create a new API as well. It should be pretty easy now. Okay, and you can get your syntax verified, everything verified. Okay. um Alrighty. I'm just going through all the questions. If you guys have any other questions, I don't see any other questions, but yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. We can be there. Yep. Yeah, follow the link for workshop again to do it at your own pace. Let me just give it a try. Okay. All right. With that, if there are no questions as such, okay, there's one question. How can we use the existing legacy old mule API which needs authentication. So when you're setting up uh, your API, that's the reason why we created our. Let me share my screen again since we have some time. Okay. So if you go back into your any point the API manager, so that's where you can manage your APIs which are having uh, different security policies. So when you create a new API API gateway, you have these different policies that you can configure. So to my policy, I can add in a different security policy if that's needed. Let me again switch the screen. Yeah. So you can basically choose from the security policies that you have for your authentication purpose, or if your API is already having authentication policy, that will be handled when it comes to API catalog as well. So everything will be taken care of. Basically, while you're creating a name credential and external services, you have to configure the authentication manually. So similarly, it will be taken care of by the API catalog when you're importing your APIs. I hope that answers your question. How can we connect Agentforce with MuleSoft MCP server? At the moment, you cannot do that. You cannot connect MCP server with Agentforce. Hopefully, something in future, but I'm not sure about it. But what I can show you is the MCP operations that we have. So currently, there are two ways you can use MuleSoft and MCP server. Firstly, we can expose like MuleSoft capabilities as MCP servers. For example, publishing an API to Exchange, creating an API, deploying an API on Cloud Hub. All these are MuleSoft capabilities. You can expose these capabilities as an MCP server. Secondly, you can build an MCP server from scratch using MuleSoft operations. So here we have some connectors like MCP client, call, tool, ping. So you can use these operations to build a MCP server. So these are two ways. How can I reopen the Coral Cloud Hotel implementation if it is closed? Okay, so if you have created it, if you have closed it, you can just open the folder from your workspace. You can go to recent and you can see your files as well if you want to open it. That's the question from Alexis. Okay. How can we connect? Okay, I think I've covered this question as well from Kiran Moy. Awesome. Um, Let me know if there are any other questions that you want me to take, or if there's anything else that you want to see. I was checking on the API catalog, but there's still no luck. I'm sorry, but the API is still not here. Um, I'm not sure. It actually takes some time. That's the reason I had some APIs in the backup, in the backend, just for backup for us to see. Um, okay, I think that's all. That's a wrap. I'll just share all the resources here. Okay. So if you're new to the community, you can, if you want to learn about more such content, you can go to Salesforce Developers Dev Community. We have developers.salesforce.com where you can find blogs and videos. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, socials, or Twitter. And stay tuned for the next Agentforce Now sessions. We have upcoming workshop next week. We have Code Live every month. We have AMAs as well. So stay tuned. And with that, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. And that's all.